New house alert. I have a fragrance from the house of Pernoire. I'm probably pronouncing that crazy wrong, but new house alert. We've got a new fragrance on our hands from the house. It is unisex, and we should be in for a good time, but I'll be the determiner of that very shortly. So strap up and let's go for that ride. All right, welcome to the scent bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Today from the house of Pernoire, we have Tierra. Unisex fragrance, released in 2021, classified as a woody, spicy fragrance with a rating of 3.41 out of 5. So only 177 votes, so small sample size, and so far it's not off to the best start. Notes from the house describe this fragrance as the joy, passion, and warmth of South American people captured in a perfume. Tierra is the elixir of passion, crafted to bring joy and warmth. Tierra in Spanish signifies earth, but metaphorically it represents home, a place of origin, comfort, and happiness. The sun symbolizes profound positivity and vitality. All right, let's give it a shot. And while we're smelling this, let's see if I can get some house notes during the dry down here. So, founded by such and such in 2020, Pernoire is a Swiss niche perfume house based in Basile. Pernoire produces limited, unique, high-quality fragrances with innovative design. The vision is an olfactory expression of the personality and to transform people into the person that they want to be. They said, "We don't produce pleasant scents, we create olfactory personalities. Each fragrance is an alchemical masterpiece crafted to elevate your personality. Our elixirs, each with its own unique alchemical power, enable your personality to become your ideal self." So this is very kind of metaphysical, spiritual, deep-rooted type of language. Poetic is another way to describe it. This is an extrait de parfum concentration, so let's just ignore all the fluffy language and see what we're getting into with this woody, spicy fragrance. And it's quite potent off of the dang strip and my skin. So on the test strip, I get a very fruity, oudy experience. Think fragrances like Oud Maracuja. Think Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomad type of scent profile. It's got some stank to it. Surprisingly, though, there's got to be oud in this. It's a warm, ambery, vanillic fragrance with a splash of a big dose of something fruity and a lot of oud. The oud is stank here. It's dirty. It's not stinky. I don't like it. I don't like it off the bat. Let's switch screens and see what we're getting ourselves into. I can see why I got a 3.41. This fragrance feels very confused. Red berries, rum, spices, vanilla, benzoin, and agarwood. I don't like that the fragrance dries down to pure oud. That red berries and rum really linger on this. It's a cool concept, but I think this fragrance would have benefited from zero oud. Or maybe just the tracest amount just to kind of complicate the fragrance a little bit, give it a little more body. But there's too much oud in here. Perhaps that's because the raw material or synthetic agarwood that is being used here is not of the best quality. Or perhaps just because they put too much. Not quite sure. There's a syntheticness to the red berry quality, even though it does smell like red berries. It smells like kind of this cranberry-ish feel. It feels very out of the bag and not so real. On my skin, it's okay, but it's not a good scent. Like, it's tolerable, and that's never a word you want to hear in perfumery. Yeah, that red berry rum is a cool idea, but the oud just really throws it off for me. Oud Maracuja and Ombre Nomad are certainly better offerings of this. I apologize if you hear my son in the background. This is potent juice, though. 8 hours plus. I can tell, no question. You know, sillage and longevity galore. They do have quite a bit of offerings. Juice box black powder, it reminds people of. So we'll be touching on that fragrance soon. Be interesting to see. Yeah, I think it really starts to radiate with that red berries and rum upon the dry down on my skin. But that oud backdrop, just, it could so benefit from a breeze. But even in a breeze, I think this fragrance would only turn into a 7 at best. Occasions, fall, winter exclusively. You need a heavy breeze and a lot of cool temperature to diffuse this scent profile and to break up some of that Agarwood scent profile. Yeah, it's a cool concept gone bad. They need to go back to the drawing board with this. Let's read some comments. Eating bubblegum and drinking cherry cola. Lovable for those who seek something off of the usual, or seeks the unusual scents. If you add blah, 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 blah. Well, first whiff literally made me gag. It never happened to me before with any perfume. Somebody said, hell no, I get the sparkling red berry and rum, but there is a Play-Doh-y, powdery, strong smell I can't ignore. Absolutely. I agree. Was expecting Red Bull. No Red Bull here. So far, the least impressive one out of the line. The dry down is fine, though, but quite a time to get there. Couldn't agree more with that sentiment. Super soak... red jelly bean that has been squished on concrete close to somebody that ordered delivery curry. That is actually close. I'm not gonna hold you. Opens up with a strong red berry note. I get the Red Bull reference too. If you wait a minute or two, you can immediately notice the rum and spices for what it is, a pleasant boozy scent with sharp berries setting the tone. If you're into boozy sweet red perfumes, this is definitely for you. That part I disagree with entirely, because I'm into all of that. And this Agarwood dry down is quite bad. In fact, I imagine that after an hour or two, you are almost exclusively left with Agarwood with a touch trace of red berries. And that is not a good scent. If you think about it, guys, would you like Agarwood with red berries? No, nobody's saying they want that. Okay, let's wrap up here. Fall, winter, 2-3 spray killer. Occasions for this, I really have no clue, because I wouldn't wear it anywhere. It does have kind of this leathery, dark leather backbone, similar to fragrances like Sutton Place from Bond Number 9, but it's so much dirtier and weightier. You know, we're starting to enter into Ordo Parisi Coium territory with this scent, you know. A big blast of this animalic Agarwood leather, and then this completely separate concept of a mostly red berry rum, backbone of spice, ambery fragrance. And they're both so disjointed that sometimes you get that part of it, and then sometimes you get the leathery backbone. For me, as a scent concept, this is like a 5. It's unrateable. I don't recommend you get your nose on it. I don't think it's just me. You know, the general public consensus of it as a score and the feedback and the comments seem to suggest that they have missed the mark with this one, and I couldn't agree more. I'm not going to give up on this house, though. We're going to try more fragrances from the house of Pernoire, because the redeeming quality about this house is that this juice is substantial, it's daring, it seems of somewhat of quality, and there's a lot of offerings. So if you can find your scent, it seems like it's going to definitely perform. As a unisex fragrance, I think this leans masculine because of the truckloads of Agarwood that's in this fragrance. But a woman who's not intimidated by ouds could go into it, but this is not your oud for greatness, oud satin mood, oud silk mood type of oud. This is, or even oud wood type of oud. This is like oud wood intense, Coium, and Sutton Place all wrapped into a cigar. Look those fragrances up when you get the time. Those are much better alternatives than this for sure. But in terms of the oud fruity type of fragrance, you have Lamar Kajal, you have Ombre Nomad, you have Oud Satin Mood, Oud Silk Mood. Yeah, in fact, I think Oud Silk Mood and Lamar Kajal are good pivots from this to get into something a lot more palatable and finessed. But anyways, this was Tierra by Pernoire. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think it's scoreless. You shouldn't even get your nose on it. But we will try other fragrances from this house. Oud is such a tricky note in perfumery because almost no one is using real oud. And therefore, because of that, you have to be a master perfumer with balance. Not just from a proportion standpoint, but in terms of what chemicals you're deciding to put together, because you can really ruin a fragrance fast. And so I think most people ruin their fragrance with oud and are not qualified to mess with that material. And it also is never the same oud. You're always dealing with different variations of it and things like that. But anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. Let me know in the comments. What are the oud fruity fragrances? Not oud and rose, but oud and fruits fragrances would you recommend to me? And when it comes to red berries, what are some good red berry fragrances that you like? Talk to me in the comment section below. I'd love to get a conversation started. Join my free Discord. It'll be in the description below. I'm going to throw 2 videos up that were probably reviews of much better fragrances than the one we've reviewed today. And I got to go, but feel free to stay here and binge watch all your favorite fragrance content Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We are posting non-stop. So I appreciate you all. Hope you stay blessed. And until next time, this is SB signing out.